Hey there, welcome to my channel where I take you on tours of tiny and unique homes. In today's real estate market, it's almost impossible for young couples to find an affordable first home. And that's why today we're featuring Chloe and Bryan, who figured out a way to do just that. They purchased a used tiny home online and have decided to park it on their property. They're going to talk about their experience making this home uniquely their own and how they plan to expand the living space in the future. But before we jump right in, if you like videos like this where we showcase stories of people living alternatively, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know every single time we publish a new episode.
Hi, I'm Bryan.
I'm Chloe.
Welcome to our tiny house. Before we moved into this tiny house, we were both living separately in Seattle. I was living on a boat.
And I lived in a studio apartment, so we're both used to small living for sure.
So when I was looking for real estate, conventional houses, I was just finding that the market was too competitive and I was getting outbid.
The tiny house we found on Facebook Marketplace. Bryan was really excited about it like on a Thursday and went to see it on a Saturday and brought it home on a Monday. But I was a little bit unsure about it. I was like, is that really the right model? Is it big enough? Is it the right price? Because it was just so early in his process of looking. And I said, we're never gonna live in this together. It's definitely too small for two of us. And then the more time we spent in it together, I realized oh, actually this does work. And now we joke about it because now it's perfect for us.
When you're inside the house, it just feels so warm and comfortable. Felt like quite a step up from living aboard a boat. On a clear day, this property just has such an insane view. We're at about 1,000 feet of elevation, and we look out over the islands and then the Canadian coastal range. You can see the city lights of Vancouver. I feel really lucky to have landed here. The push just to get the house here and to have the electricity and the water in place, that was a full year of work with rented tractors and jackhammers. So the property itself was $152,000, and that's 1.4 acres. The tiny house was $32,000. We've probably spent another 30 grand on the excavation work and the utility ingress. There's no such real estate for that price, at least in this region that I know of. As compared to renting, we're actually investing each month into something that has some gains. The house is kind of a means to being able to live somewhere as dramatically kind of beautiful as we get to.
This is where we live. We've got our tiny house and our shipping container, and the combined space is what makes it livable for us because we've got sort of overflow out of the house. The property was purchased end of 2021 and it came with a septic, which is great. Even though we have a composting toilet in the house, so we're not utilizing it right now, it's really nice to have it there for future plans. We connected to the power at the end of the driveway. We basically have really strong extension cord that runs all the way to our house, and so we power off of that. The shipping container, it's a 20-foot shipping container. It's a former job box, so it came from a construction site. They basically put in a wall dividing the space in half, and one side was their old office. We kept the doors on this side because we think they're just kind of fun, and there's a industrial look to them when you drive up to the house. And then on the other side, there's a normal door that you can go into the insulated side as well. So I'll take you in. We just keep this locked up when we're not around. And I actually just painted it. It's been gray up until about a couple weeks ago. This half of the shipping container is really just our workshop. We've got all of our tools and equipment, and then sort of longer term storage. We've got everything in bins. Got to be a little bit organized because we're working with a small amount of space. There's just a normal door here, and so it just transitions into kind of a really big walk-in closet. We're eventually going to have our washing machine and our chest freezer, and then this is going to be more organized. The shipping container appealed to us because it's kind of this fun industrial look. The fact that it's already 4 walls and a roof and we could just have it delivered here. It was like a very quick way to get storage, so we could just put everything in here very quickly and then figure out the next steps. We did spray foam insulation because we found out that's really what you need to do against a shipping container, because just metal on regular insulation, you'll get condensation in between and then you get mildew, which is what we discovered when we pulled everything out. And so we spray foamed this whole area, not the workshop side, and then we added additional insulation, and then we put up this finished plywood, I think it's birch. This is where we gather with friends when we have people over. We tend to have gatherings spring, summer, fall, and not in the winter because we just can't fit a lot of people inside the house. We usually gather around the fire, or like we have our little outdoor cook station here. And actually, often even when we don't have people over, Bryan and I will cook dinner out here in the summer because we just would rather be outside when it's nice out. We knew we wanted to like hide the trailer hitch and our heating and cooling unit. They're actually both not very attractive, so we were trying to like block that space, and we have the added benefit of having this really nice bamboo that creates really nice light when you're inside looking out as well. The house itself is road legal, so I think it's 14 feet tall and like 8.5 feet wide, and maybe 20 feet long. That's with the front porch, so it's actually like livable space is a little bit smaller than that. It's a double axle, and the siding is pine, which is really actually not great for the Northwest. It wasn't built for our climate, it was built for a drier climate. The wood tends to soak up the moisture really well. When we bought it, it was looking okay, and then like over the next 1.5 years, it turned this really deep gray color. And so last summer, we pressure washed the whole thing and refinished it. Basically took off a lot of mildew in the process. When we brought the tiny house in, we basically backed it in. We knew we wanted it as close to the edge of this hill as possible because this is a really fabulous view on a clear day. Unfortunately, it's a little smoky now, but we're basically looking straight at the Canadian mountains. You can see it's really beautiful, and it's also the best view you can get at a flat point on our property. The door came with the blue. We love it. We did pick like the other colors to go with it, but I think we'll never change the blue. It's our favorite thing about the house. So if you follow me, we can take a look inside the house.
Welcome inside our tiny house. As you can see, it is kind of a one-space layout, and we really love living here. This is a Tumbleweed Linden 20, I think is the model name. As far as I know, it was built in Idaho at like a carpentry school. So it was built by students, found it locally, and have had it for about 2.5 years or so. One modification that we changed is that the ladder used to go up to the loft in this orientation, and we found that this space is already being wasted because of the swing of the fridge and these cabinets. And so instead of bringing the ladder down to land in a space that is already kind of busy, we chose to orient it 90 degrees, and that has honestly made a big difference in just kind of the layout and the feel. This is kind of the main dining space. This table really doesn't do much more than 2. I think this model in particular is nice because you can kind of fold away the tabletop and get a little more space if you wanted to do any stretching or yoga or anything like that. This is a relatively new thing for us, but it's an air fryer and an oven, and we love it. It distributes heat a lot better than the small little toaster oven that we had before. We honestly haven't done that much to the kitchen other than we changed out the faucet. We added the little knife magnet. There was never an oven or stovetop installed, so we just have these induction cooktops. We added this little piece of, I suppose it's kind of a marble countertop product, and that just gives a little bit of heat protection to the wood. I would say that wood countertops are extremely fragile. They love to stain and get marks. And then we hung up the cast iron just because, you know, getting any space-saving things is pretty critical in here. And we utilized these tiles to kind of keep the cast iron from touching up and leaving marks on the wood because they're pretty oily and greasy most of the time. The main feature that makes this kitchen feel big enough is this farmhouse sink. I think just being able to have a place to stage dishes and free up counter space is so critical. And then this island or this table is often where we do a lot of prep, so cutting board and chopping. We definitely are maxing out our fridge with the two of us these days. And the freezer, we do have a chest freezer in our shed outside, which helps. And then pantry is pretty limited, but up here is dedicated to pantry. I would say that that's pretty much the food storage. So this is one of the beasts that live here in the house. Her name is Hobie, Hobie cat. I've had her since she was a little kitten, and we've lived on actually 2 different boats together, and now she's a creature of the forest. So she spends this time of year probably 15-16 hours a day outside. Her litter box actually lives on this loft up here, so if she has to use that, she goes up this ladder, and then we've left this top shelf and this area clear so that she can get to here and then jump across. Quite the stunt that she'll do back and forth. So come on up. This is a queen size mattress, and we've actually experimented with like a bigger memory foam kind of fancy mattress, and we just decided that the clearance of your kind of head is more important, so we have just a 4-inch mattress, and honestly for us it's enough padding. It's pretty comfortable. So this mini split, obviously if you know the technology, it's a very efficient way to heat or cool space, and what we find is that in the summertime during a heat wave, it cools the house really well, but during the winter time it's such a vertically, like it's just a tall house that we get a striation of heat and then freezing cold downstairs. And so we've actually added a few little heaters in the bathroom and then kind of in the corner by the front door that just keep the kind of heat mixing pretty evenly through the house. But it's nice, like if you come home and the whole house is cold, you can hit that, and at least the bedroom area gets hot in about 2 minutes. And then if you come on back here, we've got lounging space. Underneath here is utilities. There's actually a water tank, some filters, and then our hot water heater, which is just a 6-gallon. We've talked about wanting to go for an on-demand one because unfortunately that 6 gallons does not allow both of us to shower back to back. So we have a surface hose that feeds our water to the house. So in the cold snaps in the winter time, that obviously doesn't work. So we have to fill up the tank, and yeah, it gets us about a day of doing dishes and whatnot. Mostly we kind of drink our coffee and hang out, watch TV. The two of us can kind of both sit here. Got the bamboo kind of filtering the light in these windows, which is pretty charming, especially in the snow. Here we've got the bathroom, which is pretty functional, very small, but one thing that we have had to do is during one of those cold snaps, I forgot to drain the water pressure within the house, and so we burst the pipe behind this wall. We had to fully demo this in the middle of winter, and it took us quite a while to get the money and the time together to put in this shower. We actually took advantage of taking everything down to the studs to add in this window. And so I think that has just made this space so much more pleasant to have a shower in because you get the natural light. We went with like a, it's called like a silkstone or something. It's a ceramic or like a cement product that you can actually paint on the wall. And we pigmented that to this green color. It kind of has inconsistencies and kind of a layering that we like. And then we sealed that with epoxy, so it's really easy to clean. I would guess this is probably 2.5 by 2.5 feet square. This is probably the smallest sink I've ever seen in my life, and we find that it is pretty ineffective for brushing your teeth, and so this is pretty much a hand washing sink, and we just brush teeth in the kitchen. So this is a composting toilet. There's a urine separator, so the urine goes down and out with the gray water. Everything else goes into a basin. and that gets taken out and externally composted. I'm 6'1", I think, and this is, yeah, plenty of headroom. There is a little bit of, like, this entrance here is very narrow, so sometimes you have to like turn your shoulders sideways to get through there. But other than that, I think the layout and spacing of this model, I've been really happy with it.
My advice for anybody who's looking to go tiny is like have a really great place to put it. We really lucked out. Bryan said this, but he bought the house first and then the property, and that's not really the ideal way to do it. We got really lucky that we got this property, and if we didn't, I'm not sure where the tiny house would be.
I joke sometimes that like this is a place that I would go for like an hour-long hike just to be in a space like this with the kind of birds and the plant diversity, and so it's just pretty incredible to live at the top of a mountain where you get to enjoy those things day in and day out.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you soon with another unique home tour.